Welcome to Barbecue Better with Beef. This is RH Fisheries and this is Monument Lake. I'm here to meet Adam Purnell, the Shropshire lad, and he's going to be cooking up some boar. And I'm hungry and I can't wait any longer. Let's go.
Beef, how's it going?
Yeah, what's going on, man?
Oh, mate, I'm good. Got the rods out. So yeah, hopefully we'll catch a fish, but we're going to cook some food, so whatever happens, you know, I don't tend to catch a lot of fish, but I always eat well when I'm fishing, so we're going to go and cook some food.
Wicked, sounds perfect, man.
Do it.
Mate, so what are we cooking today?
So this is Shropshire Boar. So it's essentially a wild boar, but it's not wild, it's farmed here, which I think is like, there's only 2 people in the UK that do that. So it's a wild strain. So these guys would have been running around historically before we sort of like hunted them to extinction years ago in you know, the woodlands around here. My friend Josh now breeds them, but unlike boar in the wild, they don't have to go and hunt for their food. So we get this insane fat, you can see right here, yeah? And like the flavour of these things are unbelievable. And it's like pretty unique, as I say, I think there's only one other person we know of in the UK that's breeding a completely wild strain of boar like this, and it blows my mind. So I just wanted to show you really, because it's on my doorstep and like I try to use local amazing produce as much as possible, and this, you know, this tops the bill really.
Mate, I'm so excited.
And so, yeah, well, me too, man. You know, this is you're on a journey with me, because I've never ever cooked a rack of chops like this before, but we're going to give it a go. So I don't want you to sort of, I don't want to mess around too much. I always say, you know, don't fuck with good meat, frankly. So I'm just going to give it some salt and some pepper and some smoke. And then we're going to try and get a right nice crispy crackling on this. So this rack has obviously been French trimmed. We've just put these bits of tin foil on the bones just so that they look pretty, really. But this was what came off it. So you could like make pancetta with that, right? I mean, that's pure fat, and we're not going to waste that. So we're going to take the skin off the top piece here, and you know, if you want to take this home with you, you're welcome. If you just drop this into some hot water, boiling water for like 5-10 minutes, and then deep fried it, you'd have the most insane pork scratchings you've ever had in your life, promise you.
And that's the thing, that's what you would do, right? Boil it and then deep fry it.
Boil it and deep fry it, man. You want to take it home as a little present?
I want to do that, yeah.
Stick that in your back pocket there, man.
Look at that, yeah. Look, I might wear it like round my neck.
A little choker, like a priest choker. Nice.
Wow.
And so what we're going to do with this, so that we can't really use that because that's not going to render, right? And I haven't.
That is so soft.
Yeah, I know, it's beautiful. Look at it, right? And so we're not going to waste that. So we're going to do some Hasselback potatoes with this, and we're also going to make some croutons for a little salad that we're going to serve it with. So I'm just going to sort of, to help it break down, cut it into sort of little lardons, if you like. Just like you would buy, you know, bits of pancetta or whatever. And we're just going to render it down in a pan and let them just render down, and we'll use those for some spuds, and as I say, for some croutons as well a little bit later on. So I'm just going to start scoring this. We're leaving the rind on this one because we do want to try and get some kind of crackling on the outside. So I've got a semi-sharp knife running across. I'm going to go for a diamond formation just because it's going to allow, what we're trying to do is this, obviously there's a lot of fat there, right? So it's not all going to render out, but we're going to render as much of it out as we can. But the cap on itself on the outside will be left super crispy.
And then you're the type of person that's going to salt that heavily.
Yeah, man.
In there.
Plenty of salt, a little bit of pepper, and that's it, because I don't want to mess around with it, as I say. You know, I just want you to taste the pure flavour of this boar. I'm going to just put a little bit of rapeseed oil on there, and that's just really to help the salt to grip. So just going to get that into the skin and onto the underside, and then a lot of salt. Now, you know, people always wince at the amount of salt you're putting on, but at the end of the day, once we slice that, you're only going to get that little bit, so don't sort of under season ever.
There you go again, like we've seen, just hammer it with salt. You can,
yeah, it's going to do the world of good to it, you know. Just the pepper the underside, because you don't really want that on the skin. And we can always give it a little more pepper once we slice.
Yeah. Nice.
It's just a gesture. So that is ready. Let's see if this fat's rendered. Just to see if it's rendering. Oh mate, look at that. It's dancing. A little bit of caramelization. We're nearly there, you know, so I'm going to prep put the lid back down on that. You know what, I'm even going to move it to one side just so it doesn't get too hot. It's all good. And then we're just going to prep these spuds. So Hasselback potatoes, you know Hasselback potatoes?
Yep, no Hasselbacks, yeah, one of my favourites.
I don't know if you know the trick about like dropping it in a spoon so you don't cut through it, because I cut through them all the time. But obviously, whoa, the spoon obviously stops the knife from going all the way through. So you go down to there and then just straight across them.
I mean, that's a life hack right there.
It's a life
I haven't
hack.
seen one. Usually I just eyeball it, but that is an absolute life hack.
I've got to do it the other way around. There we go. And you got your Hasselback.
Look at that.
Yeah, easy. Right, so we're going to sort these spuds then. So we're just going to go with a little bit of pepper in there, some salt. I'm going to throw in, this is just some sage out my garden. Just going to rip that in there. And then I'm going to pour a whole load of that fat over the top. Little cheeky nugs in there as well. Obviously this is a little bit dangerous, so you take your time. We're going to use most of this into those spuds. That will probably do. And then the rest of this, I'm going to just make some croutons as well. So hopefully, with this is just a bit of old sourdough that I've got knocking around in the house. Just going to throw that into this fat. These pans retain the heat really nicely, so I'm hoping we can kind of get these done.
Look at that.
Maybe it might need another minute or two in there.
I love it, man. Just everyone's
it's
like,
not good for you, right?
everyone's like chopping them up and stuff. It's just rip it up, chuck it in there. I love like the rawness of it, and as you say, if you're gonna go big, you might as well do it.
Just going to work those in. And those lardon, the bits of the flesh that are left, you know, they don't want much more heat really. But we maybe give this another minute or so over the heat, and then we're going to set up to cook these and that.
Perfect.
As soon as they start to look like fried bread, you know, like off an old fry up, then they'll be good. Okay, right mate, these are ready to come off. They're nice and golden now. I'm going to top up the charcoal in a second, I reckon. Just going to take these out. They're going to just rest there now. I don't want them to sit in that oil and soak up any more than they need, or that fat, sorry. And then, you know, we've got these lardons as well. Look at those. I know that you noticed you just pinched one a minute ago.
Yeah, I've been nicking.
I mean, I didn't know.
Yeah, I've been nicking them out of potatoes.
They're a little bit overcooked, maybe. I don't know. They're going to add some texture. Crunchy. How was it?
Yeah, crunchy, tasty.
Yeah.
Just great.
Happy to go in your salad then?
100%. Yeah.
Good. Well, we're going to leave them on the board there. And then, you know, I could let that set, scrape it off, use it for something else another day. But don't waste that fat. It's beautiful stuff. So, I'm going to top it with charcoal. Just cook it on the one side. So remember, all this charcoal's just pushed up this one half of the barbecue, so that we're cooking indirect when we put that that boar in. Just going to top that up. We're also going to add in, for a bit of flavour, a little bit of beechwood, and that's where the smoke comes from. What people don't realise a lot of the time is that you need to have wood in order to get a smoky flavour. Charcoal is carbon essentially. It's a heat source. Right, the wood is where the flavour's at. So by dropping a piece of wood in there, you'll start to see the smoke coming out the top, and that is going to give this boar an insane flavour. I'm going to put the spuds in over the fire, this side with the lid on. So they're going to be almost like, it's almost like a little Dutch oven. I'm going to roast inside there. We're going to move them around every now and then. Right, just to make sure that we don't overcook this, I'm going to put a meter probe into it. It's just a digital probe. It's going to tell me exactly when this is cooked. So it's just going to go into the thickest part of the meat there and onto the fire.
Perfect. And that's hooked up to your phone?
It's hooked up to my phone. I can monitor the temperatures all the way through. Saves me lifting the lid. You know, they say if you're looking, you ain't cooking and all that. So it's a great way of just making sure you nail your temperature. Well, nail the cook every single time by following temperature. We always cook the temperature, not the time, because tomorrow might be a hotter barbecue than the day before. You know, it depends how much fuel you put on, depends on the way the wind's blowing. So you always using the temperature probe is the key.
That's it, yeah. Like I always say, if someone asks me when's it going to be cooked, I say I have no idea.
It's done when it's done.
Yeah, it's done when it's done.
Exactly.
All right, so the fat facing up first.
Yeah, fat facing up first, and then I always think with crackling, like Once you're kind of nearly there with the pork, you can always finish the crackling really easily with a bit of high heat. So we can just turn it over to heat, but it might crackle most of the way on its own. If we give it a hit of heat straight away, then it might end up overcooking or burning.
Yeah.
So I always find that if you just finish your crackling just before you want to eat the pork, that's the best thing to do.
Yeah, because you've got it hot enough and then you're in control.
Exactly. It's all about control, man.
Perfect.
That's it. Happy days. We have a waiting game.
Waiting game. Have a beer. Cheers, man.
Cheers. Right, I can hear those spuds like bouncing around in that fat, so I'm going to check on them. I reckon there'll be a nice bit of colour already in that fat. Already
look at that.
It's nice. It's got a long way to go. So the probe is reading, where are we? 25. So we've got about a third of the way through the cook there. Just going to turn these spuds over to make sure that in those cracks that we made, you kind of get that fat as well.
Oh yeah, look at the colour of that.
Underneath. Right, while we're waiting for that to finish, we're going to make some little skewers as well, using these sausages. So these are also boar sausages. You see the amount of fat running through those is insane, right? And we're going to load them up with some pear and some red onion. Like the pear, you know, any sweetness was kind of like, I know it's not pork, but it's kind of in the same family, and that sort of sweetness is just going to be delicious. But by slicing them open and using them as little sort of like wedges, like a kebab, we're going to get all that fat render out, and it's going to kind of go all over the onion and the pear, and just make it super delicious.
Amazing.
And then I'm going to take a pear. We want quite big, chunky pieces, so we're just going to quarter them. Get rid of the stalks and the top, like so, and just take out any bit of core. Don't want that in there. And you kind of, with kebabs, obviously you want to try and make everything roughly the same size, otherwise it's going to look silly and it's also not going to cook evenly.
Yeah, 100%.
So probably going to get 2 or 3 pieces out of each quarter. So again, we'll slice another pear if we need to. So I reckon there is good. And then some red onion as well. Red onion and fire just work so well together. They've got more sort of sugar in them than sort of regular onions. So they're kind of my go-to.
They go once you start cooking them, they go like nice and sweet.
Yeah, they do, man. It's so good. And what I'm going to do, because they're quite small, I'm going to leave the end on, and that's going to help them not to fall apart. Okay, just slice the top off, and the root isn't going to hurt anybody.
Yeah.
And yeah, as I say, it'll just keep them whole.
Again, so straightforward, but having the sausage and the flavour and the pear to go with it, again, is something I've never tried.
Me either.
Really?
You're on a journey.
No way, wicked, I love that.
I reckon it's going to work.
Wicked, I love that. I think that is a lot of the thing with barbecue as well. It's just, yeah, using your imagination, and then once you're learning how to control fires and understand how you're going to cook it, and just going off and playing around with different ingredients like that. And yeah, sometimes walking into a market or a shop with no idea what you're going to cook and just figure it out when you go, it's some of the funnest times and some of the best food you actually cook.
Remember Ready, Steady, Cook?
Yeah. Is that basically what's happened? Yeah.
It's my dream to be on that show. So we're going to go with a piece of onion first, because it's quite firm on the skewer. So it kind of gives you a good starting point to sort of push everything down. And then just going to go, I think maybe we should go meat in between everything. So if we always do, so we're going to go meat again.
Wicked.
Yeah, because it's all about the meat, right?
100%.
And then we're going to go another onion. And then another meat. Another sausage. Because I want that fat to render down through all of these, you see? That's it. Okay, that's
wicked.
right, isn't it?
Yeah, perfect, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, wicked.
Do 2 of those. So those are ready to go when the boar comes off. Right, I reckon these spuds are going to be done. Turn them again. That boar is looking nuts now.
Yeah, look at the colour on that.
Really rendering. You can see there's a little sort of flame underneath it, because it's obviously dripping a lot of fat, which is great, because we don't want all that fat that was there. We want a lot of it to render, so it's going well. The spuds, look at those. I don't want to let those go any further at all, so I'm just going to drop those onto here. We'll get them out of that fat in a second. And then I'm just going to chop some lemons so we can make a little dressing for this salad that we're going to do.
What will charring the lemon do?
So basically, obviously, anything you put in a fire that's a vegetable or a fruit, it's obviously got natural water in it and then a natural sugar. So you're reducing the water and you're like kind of intensifying the sugar or concentrating the sugar. But it's also going to caramelize the sugar as well. So it totally changes the profile of the lemon. And also, like, I don't know if you've ever put a lemon in like a microwave to get more juice out of it. You seen that trick?
No.
Yeah, man. So if you put a lemon in the microwave for like 20 seconds, you get twice the amount of juice out of it.
What?
I don't know why, but you do. And exactly the same happens to this. So you'll see in a second, once this is charred off, when we squeeze it, it'll be like, you know, sometimes it's hard to get the juice out. It's just so much juice comes out of it as well. So
How long are you going to char that for?
till it's done, mate.
Till it's done.
Till it's
So
golden. Like I just keep an eye on it. Like,
just keep an eye.
As soon as you start to see the sort of caramelization, you don't want it to burn.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so as soon as it starts going kind of golden colour,
Yeah, yeah.
then
There you
it's
go.
good to go.
Wicked.
Right, I'm just going to load these out of here, get them out of the fat. They can just sit on the board.
They look absolutely amazing.
They do, don't they? Do you want to check one?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Sure that they're,
100%.
they passed the test.
Mate.
They're done. Caught them in time.
Just using that fat on them, you get like that subtle flavour
It's delicious.
off of it. Yeah, that subtle flavour off the fat. And then obviously, yeah, the sage, pepper. Amazing.
Yeah?
Yeah, amazing, yeah. Yeah, that's incredible.
You can't waste that fat, right? It's criminal to throw that away.
Just, yeah, you've got like that lovely crispiness of them, and then like the softness in the potato. They're perfect, mate. Absolutely perfect.
I reckon those lemons should be good. Use some tongs, they're going to be warm. Just that little bit of caramelisation is all you need, really. I'm not looking to burn them. But
Yeah,
you
nice.
See the juices dripping
Wow.
out already. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. So
Yeah, that's interesting. That is.
Let them cool down, and then we'll use them. There you go. It's a little bit more caramelised, that one.
Yeah.
We'll use those. I'm going to get the lid down because that boar is still dropping some fat on that. It's keeping that fire going underneath it. Use this to make this dressing. Okay, so I'm going to char up these veggies in a minute to make quite a loose sort of salad, really. But you've got to have a dressing. So I always go for sort of a balance of heat, sweet, sour, and salt with the dressing.
Yeah, nice.
And then obviously any other nice flavours that kind of go with what you're doing in between. So I've just got, this is just a bit of whole grain mustard here, a spoonful of that into my pestle and mortar that's got some black pepper in it already. So that's where your heat's going to come from, your mustard and your pepper. Sweet is going to come from this beautiful black truffle honey, which is just dreamy. I'm going to let you try a little bit of that on your finger because it is so good. From the truffle guys.
Oh, look at that.
Just have a little taste of that.
Yeah.
Truffle really comes through on that, it's delish.
Oh, wow.
Nice?
Yeah. I mean, I've said it so many times before, like, truffle is one of my favourite things to eat. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I think a lot of people, it's like a love-hate thing with it, but I absolutely love it, and obviously love honey, the sweetness, and that's incredible.
So we've got the heat and the sweet so far. The sour is going to go from our burnt lemon. Okay, so look how much juice is coming out of that. It just keeps coming. We're going to have to fish out those pips. But you see, it's huge, huge amount, right? In comparison. Just going to get those pips out.
I'm amazed at that.
Yeah.
I really am. And again, it's such a nice little trick.
Still quite hot. There's a few pips in there, but that was just one lemon. You got the juice of what you would think would be about 3 lemons. And the flavour of it is completely different. Just going to whip out those pips. Heat, sweet, sour, salt. And that just comes from some salt, obviously. And then always a bit of oil in any dressing. And because it's a pork-related product, you know, it's from the same family, the boar, a bit of apple cider vinegar is always a nice little extra bit of acidity, which I just forgot when we were talking about sourness. And that's it. We're just going to use that to kind of like just mix it all that together. And that's kind of ready then. We're just going to finish. We're going to set this all out on this board and we'll just finish it with that. But
I think that's a really nice way to look at a dressing. The heat, sweet, sour, and
yeah, you get those 4 elements in there. It's always going to pop. So This is just fennel. I really love fennel with pork again. You know, with this boar, I treat it like pork, even though it's got a much richer flavour. It's the same family, as I keep saying, and so those flavours kind of always work together. And you know, you introduce it to a little bit of flame, and it transforms it.
I think, yeah, having fire cooked fennel is one of the best things, and if you haven't tried it, you've got to try it, because
Sure.
it does. It completely changes that flavour, and I think it's amazing.
And then it wouldn't, you know, be a fire cook without some baby gem as well.
Yes.
You know, in the salad. I know it's cliche, but it works. It's the reason people do it all the time. Delicious. If you've never charred a bit of lettuce, I urge you to try it, because it really does make a massive difference to the flavour. If you're going to do like any kind of, you know, barbecued salad, I wouldn't leave it out almost. You know,
100%.
It just works. So, good time now to drop these on. That's going to need a couple of minutes to rest when it comes off anyway. So, by the time that's rested, hopefully these will be done. So, just back onto the direct side, going to go in with our skewers.
Happy
Nearly
days,
there,
mate.
We're
Happy
nearly there.
days. It's
Time for another beer.
everything's, yeah, set up, ready to go now. It's just,
Hungry now.
it's getting to that point now.
I'm more than ready. More than ready. Whoa. Remove from heat.
Bingo! Here we go.
Let's do it. Little break in the
Yeah. Stop the talking. Like, yeah, stop the talking. It's all about this. Whoa!
There we go. Look at that. Just try and get these tongues underneath it. And of course the resting period is really, really important. So I'm just going to drop that on there. There we are.
Oh my God.
And then good time to turn these sausages over as well. Right, anyway. So whilst that rests, all right.
That is really good.
And then I'm going to go in with these croutons on the top.
The boar fat croutons.
Boar fat croutons. And of course our little sort of gnarly bits.
If there's any left, huh?
Yeah, they've been substantial beer snacks. And then kebabs are going to lie on top of that cheese and just kind of melt it a little bit, or at least bring it to room temperature. You know, it's not going to quite melt it, but
Brilliant.
Just, you know, warmth and cheese is just like two great things. Again, just going to check with the probe to make sure the sausages are cooked through. If they are, the colour on them is amazing. Yeah, man. 70, exactly what we want. Spot on they are. We don't want any more fat than is necessary to be rendering out of those. So they're just super juicy. Oops, so I'm just going to grab tongs.
So 70 is the golden number then
I
for
reckon
it.
70, they're going to continue to rise,
Yeah,
you know.
Of course.
70, 72 is kind of safe zone. You could go a little bit less if you're feeling fruity. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Pop that on there, like that. And we'll just let them rest for a minute. We will pop them off over the top when we're going to eat, so everyone gets a little bit. I'm going to shut this down so I can actually get it in my van when I want to go home. Right, so the great thing about, you know, using a barbecue with a lid like this and you using this charcoal is that I'm just going to starve the oxygen now.
Yeah.
So when I come back to this to cook next time, I'll just use what's in there. People think you can't reuse charcoal, but like, of course you can.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So just starve the oxygen and it'll go out. I'm going to just slice down in between these ribs.
You hear that?
This is just the edge piece, so hopefully it'll be juicier in the middle, but there we go, look at that. Just blushing pink.
Oh, look at that.
Bit of crackling on the outside.
It's like just gleaming off the reflection of the sun there. This thing of beauty, man.
It is. I'm just going to slice these up into cutlets because I want to get some of that dressing onto these as well. That's perfect. And that's the advantage of using a probe, right?
Look at that. Yeah. Look at that. It's like Niagara Falls in that thing.
Finally, just a drizzle of that dressing, mate, all over.
Ah. Come on, man. I can't wait any longer.
There we go.
Where do we start with this?
Oh, mate, I guess.
All right. Ready?
How's that, man? Getting the pepper.
Right.
It's one that I really love.
I'm gonna start with this. It's gonna be hard to eat all at once. Oh my God. You know, you said like, we'll see how it is. After that pear, that cooked pear is outrageous.
Like, so good,
Like
right?
the sweetness of it, but with the sausage and blue cheese and like the aniseed, like fennel with it, the balance is amazing on that.
Yeah.
Mate, just want to say thanks so much. I mean, I really appreciate it and like what you've cooked today. As I said, like if you know Adam's going to a festival wherever, or food festival, whatever, you need to come and see him because food's incredible. And yeah, really appreciate it, man.
Mate, cheers. It's been amazing having you, man.
Cheers.
Thanks for putting Shropshire on the map.
Wicked, man.
Appreciate it.